Very, very close. Bam, we're live. Now we're live. Will, good to have you back, buddy.
Good to see you.
Oh, my goodness. Brian Friend, good to see you, buddy.
Good morning.
Holy cow. How exciting. Christmas came early again, right? Is that the term?
I don't know. I woke up at 2:30 a.m. with a half dozen messages telling me that the quarterfinal workouts were available.
They did this on purpose, right? To build hype. Come on. They had to build hype.
Are they still available on YouTube?
I heard they were down. I don't know. Will shaking his head. Let's see. Let's check in with Will. Will, what do you think? Still available?
No, they took him down.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that they didn't do it on purpose.
I know. What a great like psyop stunt that would be. Just release them on purpose. Like, okay, fuck it. We do what we want to do. You agree, Angelo? They released it. They leaked it on purpose to build hype.
No.
Get all this free media. No, come on.
I don't think so.
What do you think, Brian? Do you think I'm trying to be serious about it? No,
I don't think so.
Who is in charge of that? Do we know? Who they got a CMO there, chief marketing officer.
You tell me.
Aaron, someone. There's an Aaron over there. I just saw her name on some release. I wonder if she's in charge. It's either her or Haynes or Haynes' girlfriend Emily. I think Haynes was, at least when I was there, we put him as head of games media, and then he hired a girl, and then I think they started going out, or they were going out beforehand, and they're like a dynamic duo now. If they didn't do it on purpose, it's I don't know. I feel like I do know. The secrecy of the events is really important. I mean, it's part of the character of the CrossFit Games.
So one of the guys from our media team said that, and now I can't follow all this because it doesn't really make much sense to me, but they posted the video of Boz going over the quarterfinals, like the overview or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was in a playlist with the workouts, and the workouts were unlisted. But since they were in that playlist, if you watch that video, it would come up and it would pop up with the other videos. I don't really understand it exactly, but that's kind of basically they tried to release one video and they released all of them at once on accident.
Dude, we used to be so advanced at YouTube. We were like the YouTube golden child.
That's what he said. He's like, someone over there just doesn't understand YouTube.
Fucking nuts, dude. So there was this thing. I'll tell you guys a story here, Brian. You might be familiar with this working with the games, but when we worked at HQ, there was one year where there was a leak. I think it was the year that Froning and Fraser went against each other at the ranch, and they had a big studio truck there. And right before the event went live, they had pieced together who the leak was, and it was some guy who worked, I think, on graphics for CrossFit HQ. I mean, he was a contractor, and he worked in the big studio truck. And right before they went live, it was either Dave or Justin or someone went in there into the truck and said, "Hey, pack up your shit and get the fuck out of here. We have these text messages that show that you were leaking the workouts ahead of time." Then after that, and that guy just got fired right there on the spot. Then after that moment, they made everyone at CrossFit HQ sign a piece of paper saying that you would be fined $300,000 in damages if you release these workouts in advance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like that's how serious it is. You can't run someone over in the middle of the street. And I'm not comparing this to running someone over in the middle of the street. I'm just using it as a metaphor. But you can't run someone over in the middle of the street and then say, "Oops, it was an accident." You still do time. So this is 2 in a row, guys.
Yeah, and it's
2 in a row. You are fucking. It's hard to package this one. Maybe you should charge the affiliates more, $7,000 a year to hire better people. Oh man. At this point, it's just ego because you have access to the right people. At this point, it's just ego. And just so you know, from the brand perspective, you're slowly whittling away at the brand because these are the things, these small things are what makes the brand so cool. The secrecy, sort of that militancy. You're just wishy-washy now. Just wishy-washy. Anyway, okay. We'll move on. Are they exciting? Do we like the workouts? I haven't seen them.
Well, let me just say this before we get to
Please.
workouts.
Yeah, please, Brian, please.
And I posted a little bit about this. Like, they're out there now, so probably everyone screenshotted them and has seen them, and it's not that relevant that they took the videos down from that perspective. However, we don't have all the information.
Okay.
So a good example would be that in one of the workouts, it had said that there are walking lunges, but in the floor layout plan for that workout, there was no distance to traverse. The dumbbells were in a fixed location. So are they walking lunges or are they lunges in place?
Okay.
So that's an example to say we don't know the movement standards for all of the workouts yet, or the movements within the workouts. Additionally, sometimes for online competitions that CrossFit runs, there are passwords associated with workouts. So you might have to say, hi, I'm Brian Friend. The password for this workout is barbell, and here's my weights, etc., and I'm about to do it. And lastly is that CrossFit did mention in the video that they meant to release that Angelo referenced, although it was kind of weird phrasing. They said, we recommend showing some kind of timestamp in your video. So you might have your camera that you're recording with, and you say, here's my phone, and it's Thursday at 3 p.m. in Chicago, and I'm doing the workout. They recommend this. They don't mandate it, which is strange that they would recommend it and not just say, do this. It's kind of a gray area. But either way, those are 3 reasons why you should still not do the workouts ahead of time. You should wait until they're announced at whatever the local time is that they're going to be announced, that equates to noon Pacific time. So you have all that information so that, you don't have to redo the workouts for any one of those reasons. Because even if you do it exactly right, but forget the password, if they find out that you edited your video in any way to include something else additionally or take something out, then it will be an invalid video. If they request
Is that noon today?
Submission.
When you say noon, you mean we're talking in 3 hours, 3 hours and 8 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So I wouldn't recommend doing the workouts early, even if you have them. However, it does give people a certain advantage in terms of strategy and game plan and whatever. They can see what they are and say, okay, I think I want to do them in this order. I might do these now and these later. Plus, depending on where you are, if you release the workouts at noon and it's 8 o'clock p.m. where you get them, you might need 30 minutes to an hour to evaluate what was released, warm up, decide what you're going to do. So you can't really do any workouts that evening, or maybe you don't want to because it gets to be too late. But now you have an opportunity to plan for potentially all day and be ready to do those workouts as soon as you can say, okay, here's the scorecard. Yep, everything we thought was there. Oh, this is different. Okay, no problem. I'm already warmed up and I can get so you have a little bit of extra time potentially.
Brian, what's your response to this? If you watch the videos before they hid them, I think it said do 10 lunges in one direction and turn around and do 10 back.
That's true. I heard that. That's true. That as far as I know. But yeah, I wouldn't do them. I would go off what Brian said. I would wait for the full list of stuff.
Brian, how are you woken at 2 a.m.? I didn't think you slept with your phone next to your bed.
I don't have any clocks. I don't like having any extra light there. So I do have my phone in my room in a do not disturb mode. I went to bed early at 8:30 p.m. I woke up at 2:30 to pee. Usually I can only sleep about 6 hours before I have to wake up to pee. And I use my phone as a little just light, so I don't have to turn on any bright lights. And I saw that there was quite a few messages. So I checked them.
You guys see what I was doing there? I was trying to manipulate Brian to see if he was the source of the leak. I was just didn't want to take his word for it that someone sent it to him. So from what I understand from what Angelo said is that there was one video that was supposed to be up there, but somehow on the back end, that video was attached to other videos in a playlist and it released the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
At that point, I wonder why they even pull it down.
Make sure that Graham S knows I don't use the Whoop to evaluate my sleep. I'm pretty in tune with my own body, and I can understand when I'm tired or not.
I use the Whoop to tell me when I have to pee, or else I pee the bed. I have one Whoop for my wrist and one Whoop I put right around where my cock meets my balls, and then it tells me if I have to pee. It's just me. I'm not as in touch with my body as
And don't you use your extra Whoop straps as toe spacers?
I totally yes. The Whoopie, I'm telling you, the greatest use of the Whoopie was on that Froning video where it shows his heart rate going down while he's working out. I swear to you, Whoopie, you guys should pay me, I don't know, $1,000 an episode. It's probably $500,000 a year, and I'll wear that shit. And people can always watch my heart rate on the show as I suck down Paper Street Coffee. Oh my goodness. If you want to win a free Rogue bar, you should go to Paper Street Coffee and buy coffee. Use Sevan as the code. You get 20% off. But more importantly, not only do you get beans delivered to your house, but you get entered in a contest to win a bar, so you can be as fit as Angelo and Brian, and thirdly me.
Big drop offs on each of those.
Right, like huge. There's levels to this shit. There's levels to this shit. So tell me about the workouts other than that. I want to just review the open workouts for me in a nutshell, you two. Give me a couple sentences about how what you guys thought about them and how whether they were heavy enough, where they were comprehensive enough or not. You go ahead first, Angelo.
All right. They put all of the movements from last year into a hopper and they pulled them out, but they added shoulder runs. And that's basically what we're doing.
No. Wait, you were talking about the open or the quarterfinal, Sevan?
I'm talking about the open.
Oh, you're talking about the open.
Yeah. Tell me how we got to this quarterfinals part, and then we'll talk about the quarterfinals, because that way we can put it in context. So tell me in a couple sentences, what did you think about the open this year in terms of movements, and then we'll get to the quarterfinals.
I think the open wasn't a broad enough test.
Okay. In what way? What pieces were missing? Strength,
a long workout, and I don't know. I guess those two are the ones missing the most. Well, I would say
just possibly enough tests.
Yeah, I would say that it's not missing more. It's more of that it tested the same stuff more than once. So yes, it was missing things, but the bigger problem was that more than the same thing was tested literally 2 weeks in a row.
Okay, so strength, too much redundancy in movements, and maybe a longer time domain would have been things you'd like to see. Yes. And then after these tests, 10% of the people of the 280,000 or however 300,000 that entered, then they move on to this quarterfinals in a nutshell, right?
Yes.
Do you agree with what Angelo? Do you like Angelo's summation of the open for a quick, Brian?
Well, I just think that in general, and now that we also see the quarterfinals programming, this year we can understand that the open and quarterfinals, we can kind of see what direction it's taking going forward, and it's different than what we're used to looking backwards. So I'm not going to say that that's necessarily good or bad, but we have to reframe our expectations for these two parts of the season. And I think this year's far more telling in that regard than last year.
Okay, and what is that reframing? What when you see the quarterfinals workouts, what do you see?
We'll start with the open. So first of all, I think that going forward, people should expect a 3-week, 3-test open with very minimal barriers to entry. So it's going to be fit. Like the highest skill things you'll see will be a bar muscle up that will be like earn the bar muscle up. A heavy barbell could potentially show up in the future, but you'll earn the heavy barbell. Maybe something like handstand walking, double unders, those types of skills. Nothing that's really beyond that, most likely. And capacity is going to be the basic thing that's being tested there, as at a relatively low entry level.
So as a representative from the DEI Council, I would like to say that the open will have less diversity, but more equity and more inclusivity.
It's not surprising at all that you're on that council.
More, because that is what it is what you're saying. They've lightened the loads and made everything more accessible in the open.
Yeah, this year I would say I would be surprised if there wasn't something heavier next year. But still, it's probably going to be 3 tests and probably going to be, in general, testing low skill, high capacity stuff.
Okay, unless Dave were to come back. Well, even if Dave came
even
back,
if he did,
his work
even if he did come back, it could be, and part of I think we can see by looking at the quarterfinals this year, which is we should talk about, especially what Angelo said with the hopper and the same movements. What is going on here?
I use my open money to buy a CEO shirt. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about then the quarterfinal workouts. What are we seeing, and do we like it?
It's the same. It's the same thing. I mean, I don't think it's bad. I don't think the test is bad. I just think that it's not original.
And I think there is both truth and more to be uncovered than that, to what Angela said.
Why does it need to be original, though? Doesn't it just need to be valid in order to make sure that we get the good guys?
Yeah, but it's boring I'd say for the athletes. It's boring to continue to do the same test. But yeah, I mean, it worked last year, so I see they're probably with that mindset that you just said. That I think it works, so why even change it? Which is kind of lazy, though.
Can we see the workouts, Will?
Wait, Sevan, do you want to see this year's workouts or last year's workouts? Because now we're talking about them in comparison to each other.
Okay. Which one? I guess it would be good to see last year's workouts really quick, right?
Well, we can look at this year's workouts and we can talk about last year's workouts at the same time. So what
Okay.
Angelo is referring to is that last year, the first workout of the quarterfinals had strict handstand push-ups, kipping handstand push-ups, dumbbell movement, and double unders. And this year, in the first workout, we have a dumbbell movement with 3 different variations of handstand push-ups. So it's similar in essence. There are, I think, some significant differences to these 2 workouts. Do you want to stick with this workout for now?
No, let's go through them. Let's go, because I think we have a shortage of time, right? We just have about 45 minutes or an hour today.
Mm-hmm.
And then Angelo, feel free to jump in. Like if
So
Brian's like, well, go ahead.
One of the guys at Mayhem said, Scott, you've talked to Scott Vandersloot. He said,
I think it's Vandersloot, by the way. Someone said it's if you want to use the Dutch pronunciation. Is that true?
I don't know. They call him that, but I don't think that's how you really say it.
Okay.
Scott said it's like one of those memes that says, "Hey, you can copy my homework, but change it a little bit so no one knows." It's exactly what's going on here from last year.
Well, hey, I love it when you jump in and say, "I heard it, Mayhem." Will you just do that after every workout? You just make shit up. It's so fucking good. That will make the show unbeatable if you say that every time.
That is a good analogy. Side note, there are some amazing memes going out about this. I don't know all the memes channels, but people have been sending me to them, and they're very good. So if we want to pull those up for entertainment at any point, we'll. But the major difference, I would say, in this workout is, because keep in mind that the quarterfinals is a test for thousands of people to find hundreds of people. And this workout compared to last year's workout one starts with 50 dumbbell walking lunges, which everyone can do. Last year's workout started with 10 strict handstand push-ups. You don't have to do a single strict handstand push-up until the very end of this workout this year. So this is far more friendly for the bottom half of the quarterfinal qualifiers. And last year, there were close to half of the men in North America alone that didn't sign up for quarterfinals, probably because there were a couple workouts that the very first thing, like a strict handstand push-up or 185-pound snatch, was something they couldn't do at all. So if I can get a 0 on 2 workouts, why am I going to give you $50? But at least in this version of the workout, you can progress through it. I'm assuming there'll be some time caps after, tiebreakers after certain movements. And so you can establish, you can at least put a score on the leaderboard. So that's one.
That's a great observation, by the way. That's a great observation.
Thank you.
From a business perspective too, on their part, right? Get more people, people. And
if we go to workout 5, it's exactly the same concept. So last year's workout 5 had burpee box jump overs and snatches at 185, 135. This year's workout 5 has burpee box jump overs and snatches at 185, 135 with some rowing. However, last year, the very first movement was a snatch at 185 pounds. I tried for however long the workout was and missed it a bunch of times. So I got a 0. This year, I can do 50 reps, log a tie break time, presumably, and then attempt to PR my snatch. For example, that would be an example if I were competing.
So it still is what Angelo said. They've copied someone's homework and changed it a little bit. I mean, man, that's but they've improved on it. That's an improvement, wouldn't you say, Angelo?
Yeah, I think
you give weaklings like Brian a chance.
I think definitely that I think that first workout for sure. I do think it's better. I like the way it's written. The last workout I think it's going to be especially for the people who are going to qualify for semifinals. I think it's going to have the exact same feel as like a 95% sprint. Like it's not 100% sprint because when you get the snatches, you need to hold a little bit back. But it's the same kind of sprint style. I think both of those events are very similar, but I think, I would say they're improved upon.
And those final workouts they have a very similar feel for the elite athletes to a final event at a regionals from previous time periods, where they have, most people are going to finish them in a 3 to 5 minute window. It's going to be really small margins, tenths of seconds and whatever that separate people, but it hurts.
Yeah. But I mean, that is it's closer to the regionals finisher from 2017
with the burpee box jump overs and then the sandbag cleans.
Yeah, the bike. It's like that exact same workout.
Hey, things don't make sense in the world, right? Like let's say you put your dog outside and it starts barking really loud, and instead of letting them in, you're like, okay, fuck it, I'll put another dog outside. I wish I could think of a better example. That's what they did over at CrossFit HQ. They fired Dave. They realized it was a mistake, and instead of bringing him back, they fired the guy who fired him. I mean, it's just the whole fucking thing doesn't make sense. I wish I could explain it to you, but I cannot answer that person's question. I mean, they're going to put someone else should get fired now. Let's just keep firing people. If there was no one left, it might still be better than Spartan Race. Okay. Sorry, Joe. I'm just joking. Can we go back to workout number 2, Brian? Is that what we want to do? And Phil, we sit with these two are very.
I thought that 1 and 5 were good to talk about together there, just because of that they're different in similar ways this year.
Yeah, and they are very similar. Especially 5 is the same workout, just different order, right?
They added rowing.
Yeah, added rowing.
Okay. All right, can we look at workout number 2?
Sure.
Did you like these, Brian? Do you like the workouts as a test?
Yes. So I wrote an article earlier this week that said, based on what we know from the floor plans, there are certain things that CrossFit needs to include here to make sure that this test is balanced. And so they need to have something that's demanding on the legs that was not apparent in the original floor plans. That amount of volume of lunging is a significant taxing. That workout's pretty tough. It's going to be tiring on the legs, but also extremely demanding on the shoulder fatigue. I think that the last couple parts of that workout, the deficit handstand push-ups into the overhead lunges into the strict handstand push-ups, is going to be really challenging for everyone but the very, very best. And there's definitely some leg fatigue there. Here we have another example. We didn't know that pistols were going to be in there. They said there was this 8 feet of space, and I speculated that they probably would include either double unders or pistols in there. So they put the pistols to add another leg movement. However, the weird thing is that they've chosen to do double single leg modality movements, which I didn't think they necessarily needed to do. That's probably the biggest critique I have of the programming upon first seeing it.
You mean lunging and
pistols
Whereas
I had proposed a different, like, I think if they had just put double unders here instead of pistols, that you eliminate that and you add another monostructure element, and it might be a little bit more balanced. But I'm not upset about it. I just noticed that there were two unilateral leg movements in the first 2 workouts.
Why do they call it single leg squats? Have you seen? Is that normal?
Yeah.
They don't call them pistols. They call them single leg squats.
Why are they called the Washington Wizards? They used to be the Bullets.
Well, I was going somewhere. I'm wondering if they did it because they didn't want to use the word pistol.
I think that's
exactly what I was saying.
Oh, that would be crazy if that's it. That would be fucking batshit crazy.
I think they've called the thing single leg squats before.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they usually put it in as that. I think it clears it up for most people.
Right. Okay. Sorry. I'm guilty of looking for wokeisms. I'm guilty. Guilty as charged. Guilty. Okay. Let's go to the third workout. Or not.
Which one is the third one? Is it the rope climbs? Yeah. So we knew that there'd be rope climbs and wall balls. Most people seem to assume that this would be handstand walking. I thought it was pretty obviously not going to be handstand walking, since they already had handstand push-ups in at least 2 varieties based on the floor plans, and suggested that they might use a shuttle run here because we knew that it was supposed to be used in the open. So maybe they wanted to move it into the quarterfinals, which they have done. And for anyone who's like, shuttle runs, what the hell is that doing in a workout? Don't underestimate those until you've done Metcons with them in them. It's surprisingly, it fatigues you in a little bit different way than normal running would, with all the stopping and starting and the explosive movement to get off the starting line every time. It's a little bit harder to settle into a rhythm if you haven't practiced it. The legs will be a little bit fatigued. The heart rates, especially in those rounds of 12, 16, 12, like that's a lot of running back and forth. It's like, seems kind of silly, but like some people might even get dizzy doing that many times if they haven't practiced it before. So there's a little bit of nuance to this that I like, and that up and down ladder is always kind of challenging to navigate, as we saw with open workout 22.2, where you get into that middle round and you have to make sure you have enough left to get through that well, and then hopefully be able to push in the last half.
I want to go back a little bit. I should have set the stage.
One note here. If
Please.
you zoom in, you can see that the women have a 10-foot target for this workout, which is something that recent guests on the show, Bill Grunler and Chase Ingram, have been advocating for a long time. But I doubt that a lot of competitors, I bet you that competitive CrossFit athletes practice this, but a lot of kind of recreational or fringe don't on the women's side.
Okay, before I say what I'm going to say, what did it used to be before it was 10 feet, and why 10 feet? You're saying, are you suggesting that 14 and 20 is enough of a difference? Use the same height?
I'm saying it's usually been 14-pound ball to a 9-foot target, 20-pound ball to a 10-foot target, and here they have it listed where both men and women. See that? I'm not going to use the word sex or gender ever again on this show.
Thank you.
Have to throw to a 10-foot target.
But you like this too, right? Bill and Chase are suggesting like, hey, the weight is different. That's enough of a difference. Just keep everything else standard. You don't have to change both. And
Change
you agree with
one
that?
or the other, not both. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What would you think about that, you guys? If everyone used a 20-pound ball, but the women just went to a lighter, shorter target,
Or if everyone used a 9-foot target, but a different pound ball.
Yeah. Wow. How do you get to see a lot of strong women, Angela? Can women toss a 20-pound? Do you see women doing 20-pound wall balls at your gym?
Yeah. I think the girls always throw to a 10-foot target, even with the 14 now. And then if they use a 20, I think if they use a 20, they might throw to a 9. It just depends on the workout, I guess, how much volume is in the workout. But they almost always, if we do 14-pound balls, they're throwing to a 10-foot target. It's just kind of just because timing wise, it just makes their rounds quicker. If they do it to a 9-foot target, then it's like if they're your partner and they're going when you're resting and whatever, then you're getting less rest because their wall balls are a lot quicker because it's not going as high and it's coming down quicker. So timing. You
see a 30-pound ball used a lot over at Mayhem too?
Yeah, we use a 30, pretty good amount.
How about a 40-pound ball?
No, I think there was one guy who did Karen with a 50, more just like you do 3 or 4, walk away, just got through it. But no 40 or 50 is usually.
Was it the guy who was in first place on the Mayhem leaderboard after 2 weeks of the Open?
No, was not him.
You saw a guy do Karen with a 50-pound.
I don't think I saw it. I've heard the rumors, but I don't think it was a very impressive. I think it's like 30 or 40 minutes, like forever.
Mayhem. How
myths.
dare you? Colton Mertens used a 300-pound ball, not a 30-pound ball. Jackass. Just joking, Brandon. So I want to go back really quick. So we've talked about workout number 1 and workout number 5. We've talked about workout number 2 and workout number 3. The last one's remaining workout 4. But basically, the stage here is that the quarterfinals start today at noon. They will officially be announced, and that's when people can start doing them. And they have to have their scores submitted by
Monday at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, no, Sunday at the same time.
Okay, so I'm looking at it.
But that's the final workout. You actually have to submit them 24 hours from when they're released to the first 2, 24 hours later, the second 2, and 24 hours later, the final one.
Oh, so this really is a clusterfuck.
Well,
no, this is how it was last year.
What I mean is that now that they've all been released, it makes it even more confusing. Like you're saying that normally at noon today, they would have only released 2 of the workouts?
No, they release all 5, but you have to do the first 2 and submit them within the first 24-hour window.
Okay.
But you don't have to do them in order.
No.
This gives people a little bit of a heads up to decide what order maybe they want to do them in.
Well, do you have to do 1 or 2 the first day, but you can switch them 2 or 1? Or could you do workout
you could do
1
number,
or 3?
Well, when we get to number 4, I think there's a lot of people that will do workout number 4 first.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Which is what happened last year also.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter. They're going to give us 5 workouts at noon today. It doesn't matter which 2 you do, but you have to have 2 done by tomorrow at noon.
Yeah, so you could do them all, or you could do just the 2, or you could kind of mix and match. Like what Brian said, most people do this one first, probably 1 tonight, and then 1 tomorrow morning. So they'll do 4 as soon as possible. They'll do either 1 or 2 very soon, and then in the morning they'll do 1 or 2, and then submit those, and then they'll only have 2 left at that point.
So Sunday, the 27th at noon, we will know who's going to the semifinals.
No, we'll have a good idea, but we won't know for sure. There still will have to be a review process, and CrossFit hasn't. I think they've advertised that the leaderboard for semifinals would be finalized by April 1st, but they've also advertised that they will announce when the leaderboard will be finalized, and it's still open to interpretation of if that's actually going to happen by April 1st or not.
Okay, and but that was kind of the same with the Open. it wasn't finalized, but they let the numbers go up in real time. Will they let the numbers go up in real time here too?
Yeah. So the leaderboard will remain hidden until 24 hours pass from the announcement. At that mark, all the scores have to have been submitted. Any scores submitted after 24 hours will not be accepted. And Adrian was extremely explicit in saying that directly in his the video that they meant to release yesterday. And then the leaderboard will populate with results from the first 2 workouts. It'll be an unofficial leaderboard, but you'll be able to see everyone's score on those workouts at that time. 24 hours later, you'll be able to see everyone's workout scores from workouts 3 and 4 additionally. And then after the final period, you'll be able to see everyone's scores for all 5 workouts, but the review process will still have to take place.
Okay. Are we doing a show on Sunday night?
We could do a show after each of the segments if we want to, and talk about how workouts 1 and 2 go, and if there were any surprises, if there were any major athletes that did really poorly that we need to see a bounce back from in the coming weeks. We can look at the cut lines by continents. So we could be a little more nuanced than that if you want to.
Okay, awesome. Let's do it. I'll call you right when this is over. Okay, so I like this, and then, but we do know the only factor that we won't know on 27th at noon is who's not going to the semifinals based on the videos they submitted and whether they pass the judges' standards. But we will know how many of each because we know how many people, right? Like we will be able to say it's 5 Europeans, it's 10 North American.
No, we already know that.
Okay.
120 men and women from North America will advance to semifinals. Who they are, we won't know for probably a week to 2 afterwards definitively, because not only do they have to have the review process, and I'm not sure how far down the leaderboard they're going to go. They said if you finish within 180th in North America, I think 90th in Europe and 60th in any of the other regions, you should be prepared to submit videos for review. The reason there could be several reasons for that, but one of them is in the rule book, it says that they may or may not extend backfill positions to semifinals. And it says it's something like that. That's not the exact wording, but it's not a guarantee. However, if a significant number of people decline, then they have created the option for them to extend backfill positions, which we saw even as far as 10 and 15 spots below the original cut line, getting backfill invites to semifinals last year. Mostly people are not going to semifinals if they're competing on a team. So let's say that because of if 10 men in North America do these workouts as an individual, place in the top 120, also do the team workouts and their teams qualify and they choose to go team, then those spots can open up. That can happen pretty late on because the team quarterfinals don't happen for 2 weeks from now. And then after that, there has to be a review. And then they have to send out invites for semifinals. And then at that point, athletes have to decide which path they're taking. Which
brings up, I received a very good, from a very good source last night. I wonder if this is going to bum out Angela. Angela, do you have a Kleenex nearby?
No.
Well, that's good. You passed the test that you don't jerk off in front of your computer then. I heard from a very good source last night, a very, very good source late last night, that Rich Froning will be doing individual this year, or that he's seriously contemplating it because this is his last year in the games, and that he's thinking about surprising us. And I was like, can he still change his mind? And they said, absolutely. And they said that they heard from a very good source he's going to do that.
Who can I ask who your source is?
No, but it is a very, very good source.
Do you mean that he's going to do the individual quarterfinal workouts and log his scores on the leaderboard, or that he's going to try to compete at the CrossFit Games as an individual?
That he's going to try to compete at the CrossFit Games as an individual.
So you should have said both, because you can't do the second without the first.
Okay. So would we know? Would we know after the quarterfinals if he's thinking about that by the way he logs in?
Yeah. You'll know if he. If I'll put it this way, if you see his name on the leaderboard, then he is going to the CrossFit Games as an individual.
All right. Well, we shall see. That's exciting. That's exciting news. That's exciting news. Hey, you know who benefits the most from that is Justin Medeiros.
Really?
Yeah.
Why does he benefit?
Because or anyone who can try to beat him, because no one's been able to defeat a champion.
Well, but there's no, is it really that cool to beat up on an old man?
It's a good point. It's a good point. It's a good point. Good point.
I mean,
good point. It's a good point.
Medeiros in his prime. It's like,
hey, you know what I'm going to say to you guys? With that money that you save by firing Rosa, just cut Rich a check for fucking $750K, drive it over to him right there. Show it to Hillary, show that she can, buy more like those headbands for the baby and shit, like a lifetime supply for the next 12 kids they adopt. And this motherfucker will jump in individual and the whole place will go crazy.
I don't know.
Doesn't sound like
What
he
do you mean?
has to.
Not 750, just a cool mill. Cool mill. How much, Angelo?
I think maybe we talked about it. $1 million is not enough for him. I know that.
God, he's a privileged little motherfucker out there in Cookeville.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you a story though. This is also from a very good source too. I did hear that someone offered to buy him an Olympic-sized swimming pool and put it in the ground if he entered the open, entered individual. Not this year, but a few years back.
I haven't heard that, but he might bite on that.
Ooh.
I know
I did hear that.
He wants one bad, and I know it's expensive.
Oh, Will, you're a good dude. Thank you.
No.
I heard a rumor. So that's fun. So that's going to give us a lot to talk about moving forward. And then before we get to work the last workout, what is the time space between this Sunday the 27th when the quarterfinals close and the semifinals?
First semifinals weekend is May 20th.
Wow. So it's almost 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have a lot of downtime.
Well, during that time, there's also the team quarterfinals, the age group quarterfinals, and I think the occupational games.
Yeah, the occupational games.
What are they calling the next stage for them? Is it
Look at
quarterfinals
Angelo
or
getting
is
his
it just
panties all in a twist and shit.
You
gonna win that?
Occupational games. I'm gonna try to win it. Yeah.
Do you know some of the other fittest firefighters that you'll be competing against?
Well, yes and no, but like, I don't know how many of them are even going to be competing. So obviously Dane Smith. I don't know if you guys know that he's a firefighter now.
Mm-hmm.
Roy Gamboa.
That's Ben's brother, right?
Yeah, his youngest brother. Roy Gamboa. He was just a couple spots underneath me, and then I don't know if Travis Williams is doing it or not. I didn't look hard enough.
There's some really fit guys. You're obviously
they probably don't test those guys, and there's some 42-year-old dude who's on testosterone replacement therapy who's gonna win the whole fucking thing. He's got
I just want to talk about it for a second, but I didn't look at that leaderboard until until I put in my score for the last workout, and I realized if I would have. So the first workout, the guy in first place, I ended up in 5th. The guy in first place beat me by 4 reps on the first workout, beat me by 3 seconds on the second workout, and then I beat him by 20 seconds on the last workout. If I would have redone just one of those first workouts, then I probably would have been first out of the open. But I
love to hear those words out of your mouth. Redo. That's how you make babies, honey. We got to do a redo.
But yes, I am going to compete in that. But I think it's just called the occupation games, and it's just the same weekend as the age group qualifier. It's the same workouts and everything, and I just figured it'd be fun. Like, I'm not doing individual this year, so it'd be a fun way to do an individual competition this year.
Who's the dude who whooped you?
It's funny. I forget.
Was it Ron Ortiz?
No, Jeremiah Bailey. I could be totally wrong, but I sent a screenshot of the leaderboard to my dad, and he said, he goes, that guy in first. He goes, he must be your daddy.
That's a good dad. Hey, that guy redid them. You put your score. When did you put your score up?
Pretty early on Monday. It's like Monday at 10 or 11. Yeah.
Oh, so that doesn't give him much time.
He didn't redo the first or second one that I know of. I mean, I didn't look at the leaderboard, but who knows? I mean, it doesn't matter it really doesn't matter, but it would have been cool.
I hope he redid them and made you pay. I'm telling you, this guy is entering. Look, Will, you got that? Someone just sent that to you, Will, and now we know it's true. Come on,
I made
Will.
it.
Will,
I need to make it. Rich sent it to me.
Yes, I knew it. That's Will's way of Rich's way of confirming. Yeah, it's. I'm telling you,
Sevan. Everyone in the comments thinks Brent Fikowski is your source
for the swimming pool.
Rich.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Rich forgot Brent was back there listening in his tent. Forgot he was in there, and Rich was walking around the barn talking about it, and Fikowski heard.
Fikowski's not been to the barn yet, but we do have more athletes.
I do want to say though, all kidding aside, I do have a source who says that that it's in the works. It's in the works. So let's.
Do you want to talk about workout 4? We skipped it.
Okay, let's talk about it. We have 10 minutes. I have to go eat breakfast. Brian has to go make someone strong, save someone's life. Hey, could you be called at any minute, Angelo? Are you in the firehouse?
No, I don't know. I'm at home.
Oh, okay.
This is my no. This look like a firehouse? Does it?
Fuck.
I mean, I guess
don't know.
I guess there's a flag on the wall and stuff.
Yeah.
No, this is just like my little game room. Awesome.
Yes, now you're putting it together. A game room. Brent replaces Rich on the team. Rich goes, you're cracking the code.
Yeah. I don't know what code it is, but
and Devesh also figured Brent took that pick. That is correct. That you guys are good.
The Brian, what do you think about the other total? I think it's good. I like that workout.
Yeah, so if you're gonna have a 1-rep max strength test as part of a 5-workout online competition, this obviously is going to better capture the person who's more well-rounded and fit and strong as an athlete than if it was any of one of these 3 things on their own. And most people seem to think when they put the floor plans out on Monday that it was either going to be an overhead squat or a bench press for some number of reps, and they just didn't include it in the visual. Now we have a little bit more understanding of why the bench press wasn't included in the visual. You can't have it there permanently for all 3 of these things, obviously, but I still think they could have put it on the side or something.
Yeah, or noted it somewhere, say bench press would need or something.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's a ton of people that can bench a lot, but how good are they at overhead squat? And actually, there's another kind of cool thing about this total that I always liked, which is in the OPEX methodology, I think is where I first came across this. In theory, like a really well-rounded athlete should have the same 1-rep max bench press and 1-rep max clean. So it'd be kind of yeah. So it'd be kind of a cool test for a lot of people. I'm guessing in the CrossFit world that there's a lot of people that are not balanced on that, and probably in both ways. I would say probably at the upper end, CrossFitters can clean more than they can bench, but there's probably a lot of recreational CrossFitters that can bench more than they can clean, just because they probably started benching when they were really young playing football or whatever. So it'd be
my clean and bench were always the same. My max clean and bench. Now that I think about it,
115.
yeah.
Body weight.
He didn't even take Brian 1 second. I wasn't even done. He's like 115.
I think
I shouldn't be making fun of anyone for either of those lists.
You got the 25s on, Sevan? You got the green ones? Go ahead.
I think what you'll see out of most, which I guess this will be scored by 1 total weight, but would be cool is if you could see, maybe scored as 1 weight, but you could see the 3 lifts. I think you'll be surprised at how many people clean and overhead squat almost the exact same weight, and bench press is going to be way below. I think for elite CrossFitters, I think that'll be the case. Their clean and overhead squat will be very similar, and their bench will be lower.
Yeah, and I think that maybe like for the top guys, like 350 to 400 pounds is the range for the clean and the overhead squat, and the bench press will be like below 350 in general.
I think so. I think for upper end guys and elite guys, not talking about the outliers, if you can bench press over 300, I would say, yeah, like you said, clean and overhead squat 350 to 400, that's going to get you pretty good. I think we said about 1,000 pounds is going to be really good for a really good score.
But the really good thing about the fact that this test is here is if it was, let's just say it was a 3-rep max bench press. A 3-rep max bench press, just like we saw with the 4-rep max front squat last year, just allows for a huge kind of blow up in the leaderboard where there's, 500 guys who are really, really good at that. And by really, really good, I mean better than all the people who should be and will eventually make semifinals. So it inflates all their scores. There might be someone who's, or some group of people that are really good at all 3 of these lifts and can still do the same thing, but it'll be a smaller number of people who do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think
Why does he get the money? I fucking grabbed my ankles and took one for the team. Why does he get the money?
But you like doing that.
Oh, right. I got my treat. Go ahead. I have 5 questions for you guys about this workout. So do you want to say something, Angelo, before I dig in?
No, go ahead.
Why? Brian had mentioned that he thinks people will do this one first. Why? I would think that you would do it last. Why first? What don't I know?
So you can just warm up and hit these while you're fresh. I mean, because you don't want to do a lot of wall balls, you don't want to do a lot of pistols, and you probably don't want to do a lot of lunges before you do a heavy squat in the clean and the overhead squat. You want to do it with fresh legs.
Is that
And
what you're
before
saying
you
too,
get
Brian?
to push up to the bench.
Yeah. Plus, I think that a lot of people, by the nature of their general programming, more often than not, lift and then do Metcon. So this, like what Angelo said earlier, because of the 24-hour time window, you could warm up, do this lift, and feel kind of primed for a Metcon as you do in your normal training. Hit one of the 2 first Metcons really hard, rest, and come back either later in the day or the next morning, depending on where you live and what the time is, and hit the other Metcon. And that just like makes sense within how people train for the most part. The top end athletes probably train a lot where they will do a Metcon and then lift because it sometimes happens in competition. But most normal people, if they're going to a box or just following a traditional program, will have the lifting before the Metcon.
If one of these 3 were switched to deadlift or squat, it might be different, right? Because that would be more aggressive towards the central nervous system and might make you really sore. But since they're all relatively submaximal loads for people, right? And safe. The bench, you're on your back. Overhead squat, it's not as much as you can back squat. And the clean is like, it's not a deadlift, right? So is there any truth to what I just said there?
Yeah, I don't think most people will get sore from this workout. I think that if you attack it correctly, you won't get really sore because you're really only going, if you warm up correctly, you're probably going to hit 4 lifts at the most on each one, and then move on. So you're not really going to be doing a ton of lifting. And if your form doesn't, if your form doesn't break down, then you really would have nothing to be super sore from. But yeah, central nervous system maybe would be a little fried, but not too bad.
So 4 lifts before you go for your 4 lifts to build up to your 1 rep max clean, 4 lifts to build up to your 1 rep max bench, 4 lifts over squat. And by 4, the bench press is obviously a little different. You might, do a set of 10 with 95 pounds on it first, just to like
the bench press. I would do the least amount of reps with.
You would?
Oh, for sure. I don't know why. I mean, I would do 135 once or twice. I'd do 225 once or twice. Then I would start hitting my weights.
Wow.
That's just me. I don't like to waste those reps. I don't like to waste those good reps.
I just like to warm my shoulders up. I just like to do a set of 10, even if you just do a set of 10 with the bar, a set of 10 with the 25s, just get it. So, because it's weird when you go heavy cold on a bench. It hurts, I think. Well, I'm old.
Yeah, but you got that spring loaded system. You're so tight and tensed up.
Oh.
You can just bounce off your chest.
The bench press is a good example, though. I'm not sure what the standard that they'll impose for the bench press is. So there's another good example of something you really wouldn't want to do ahead of time, even if you know this workout's coming. They should allow it to bounce. So what do you think the standard should be in terms of what parts of your body on the bench for bench press?
I think you should just have to have both your feet on the ground, and that's it, basically.
So strict press works.
I mean, you should be able to bounce. You should do whatever. It should just be easy as fuck to judge.
Do you have to keep your shoulder blades on the bench? Do you have to keep your hips on the bench?
Sure. No, not your hips. Your shoulder blades. Three points of contact. 1 foot, and in your back, maybe. I mean, I don't know how you could do it any other way. Say that again.
But yeah, feet, butt, upper back.
Yeah. See, there's 2. I just asked 2 of you, and what you said 2 different standards.
Yeah. I don't agree with the butt. You should make it as easy as possible.
No, I don't know. I don't know what the butt coming off the pad is just off the bench is. I hate that. I don't know. I don't think that's.
I don't like the way it looks. Unless she's cute. But okay. So we talked about why that's first. What's the max clean gonna be that we're gonna see? Let's get some predictions from you guys. The max
men or women?
Let's do both. Let's start with. Give me men and then women.
I will say that the max clean is going to be 425 for the men and 295 for the women.
That's pretty close. I was going to say 420 and 290. So 285, 290. I was pretty close. That's about the same.
Okay. I think that I'm not sure who's necessarily in this competition for the men that can clean that much. I'm sure there are a couple guys that can go over 400, but I think for the women that Christine Middleton from Ocean State CrossFit's a good candidate to potentially win this one, at least have the heaviest clean.
And bench, what do you think the heaviest bench? Brian for men, and then women.
Man, I don't know. This is way harder for me to judge. Yeah. I think there'll be guys that can also bench north of 400, but not by much. And I think women. I'm not really sure. I'm not even really sure what a good bench press is for a woman. I would guess like 225 would be pretty impressive.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to say 405 and 225?
Yeah, but I'm way
God,
less certain.
225 would be nuts.
I think 250 for the women. I'm gonna say 250.
Wow.
I think there's gonna be a few girls there who can really bench.
And what about the men? Angelo?
The men, I think, 405 is probably good. I think there's gonna be people north of that, but 405 is a good weight.
Hey, I think we're gonna see.
The thing is, so there's like,
500.
like if it was
You
the
think we are
open-
gonna see a 500?
I think maybe one guy will bench 500, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think it's impossible either. If it was the open, I would say I'm sure there's someone out there that can bench 500.
Yeah.
But now you've already eliminated, based on a capacity test, a huge percentage of the people that did the open.
True.
So that's why I think like 400 to 450 is more reasonable for the top bench for a man.
Hey, can you give us a story, Angelo? One time at Mayhem, I saw.
I'll say, how about this afternoon at Mayhem? I think I'll see Guy clean 400 pounds.
Yes.
Gosh.
Guy, I love it. Okay, and we're gonna go back to the bench press for women. We're also gonna see some really sad numbers for the women, just because we're gonna see some women we really like and we really want to see do well, do 140.
Yes.
Well, there's another thing in play here. Is I think that the last time we saw a barbell bench press in a high level competition was Linda at regionals that one year. And there were a couple instances of people struggling so much with the bench press that they didn't make the games. Not a ton, but I think maybe one or two instances. And now in this case, I don't think that will be as much of a problem. You'll see, like what you're saying, you'll see some people, men and women, I think, that have really respectable clean and overhead squat with suboptimal bench press, but it will be less detrimental to them than it would have been if that bench press stood on its own.
Yep.
But Angelo, it's fucked up. You don't have your correct Instagram on here. This is like some of the
Sorry.
most live. Well, it's not. It's your loss, because you should be like promoting whatever you sell those fire hose beer bottle openers or whatever you sell. Is that you sell those? Damn, I can't believe how many people are watching. Don't you guys have something better to do? It's fucking Thursday. Get back to work. It's 9:37 a.m.
How many people are watching?
Fucking like 900.
Wow.
Okay. So and then the squat. What is this max squat we're going to see? No, sorry. Overhead squat. This max overhead squat from the men and the max overhead squat from women.
What's that guy's name?
Colton
Thor.
Mertens.
He's CrossFit Thor on Instagram.
Oh,
Griffin Roll. Someone was talking about him in the comments.
He'll probably overhead squat 455 pounds.
wow.
I think
had
there
him
could
on the
be
show. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's so strong. He's incredibly strong. I really think he'll overhead squat more. Well, what do you front squat in the games in stage 1?
something like that.
And I would say I know I'm like this, that or at least Rich is definitely like this, that his front squat and his overhead squat are very similar. So if you have good overhead, then they're going to be very close. So if he can do that, then I'm gonna say yeah.
Lazar saying all these people are here just to listen to me. That's funny, because I did a show
Lazar.
earlier today without these two and there were only 40 people on. So 450. Do you guys agree about 450 for the overhead squat? You guys in agreement?
Look, I think if any guy can hit 405 or more, that's really impressive, and it'll be right up there near the top. But this is a lift that you could see a big outlier like that. Like you might see someone that's 20 or 30 pounds clear of the next man or next woman.
Okay, and then what about the women? Have we ever seen a woman overhead squat 300 pounds in the CrossFit ecosystem?
I don't know for sure, but I can't think of one offhand.
I'm gonna say at least 275, but 300 is not out of the realm of possibility.
Crazy. What's Taylor do? What do Taylor and Andrea do?
Oh, I don't know. A lot. They can do a lot.
Way a lot from Angelo DeChico representing the Mayhem Empire. A lot.
Put that in quotes.
Okay, and so they touched on this. Sorry, Vincent. They touched on this a little bit in the beginning, but let's just add the numbers. If we take 425 for the biggest clean that they thought, and we say the bench press, what number? What's the most we might see? 500.
I don't think it's going to be by the same person. I think the same person is going to do the 420, the 500 and the 440.
Okay. But if we took all the biggest numbers that we've heard, it would be 425, 500, and 450, which would be a grand total of 1,375 pounds, which would be fucking.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I think the heaviest overall will be around 1,200 pounds. Maybe.
Wow, crazy.
I think a lot of people will be over 1,000. I think there's gonna be a lot of people over 1,000 pounds.
You think that guy Thor's gonna win this whole contest? This whole
He very
workout
well could. I think he very well could.
Like he's excited. Like he felt movement in his
yeah.
pants when he saw this.
Yeah, I mean, he cleans he can clean 365 just like regularly, like for reps, like just in a workout.
And the women, do we have a max number for the women that we're going to guess? We if we choose the biggest numbers we have here, it'd be 295, 250, and 275, which would bring us 22, which would bring us 825 pounds.
I'm gonna say the
Something
heaviest
like
we'll see from a woman will be 750, 800s in that range.
So men are normally stronger than women.
Yeah, and they're faster swimmers too.
The men are, or the women?
Men are.
Crazy, racist. Okay. My last question for you, Angelo, is this: what's it like with Roman in the gym? Is it weird? Like when you get around foreigners and they don't, I mean, especially Russians, their language is so different than ours. Are you comfortable? Like, do you have to like take some deep breaths and be like, okay, this is going to be weird, and I'm just comfortable with it. Like, we just don't talk, or we just do that awkward smile.
He's working on his English. He's doing pretty well, honestly. I mean,
can you
talk all funny when you talk to him? Like you use an accent, like you're like, "Hello, Roman."
No, I just
nice
usually don't.
You know, like you act like a jackass. Not you, but we act like jackasses around foreigners, like they're like 2 years old.
No, it was weird the first couple of days because he only understood CrossFit terms. That was it. But
man, you have a nice snatch, and he's like,
yeah, that's it. That's all he knows. But no, his English has gotten a lot better. I think he has like a little app on his phone that he's working on it. And no, he's actually pretty cool. He's pretty chill, but we just communicate through Google Translate. He carries his phone around and Google translates everything.
Awesome. And how long is he staying?
He doesn't know. He's doing quarterfinals here, and then he hasn't decided if he's going to stay here until the games or not. I don't think he knows.
Well, shit. I knew it. No, so did Roman take this? Who took this one? Will, we're
doing hill sprints in the back.
Will, who took this one?
Roman took it, and
okay.
I think that just to the right, it's Angelo with a fire hose filling up the pool. So that was part of the deal. Is like, we'll give you a pool, but you got to find someone to fill it up.
Hey, you tell Rich he should have taken the 750K. Could have built that pool probably for 250, and had 500 to spare. But whatever. God, that pool's so small. Fikowski could touch both sides of the pool like this at the same time. On a serious note, it is interesting that Roman chose Cookeville. Does that say something about the openness or the welcomeness of that group, or
I think so.
What?
Yeah, I think he reached out to
the Christian values of CrossFit Mayhem.
I think he reached out to Facundo, and then because saying he was in the States and that he just wanted to come to Cookeville, and then so he asked Rich, and Rich kind of ran it by us, and we all said, well, yeah, no, I mean, that's fine.
And he's worked with Facundo for years as like an aerobic capacity programmer, and I think even maybe they're friends, so it's not that uncommon that he would have reached out to him.
Yeah.
I heard that on the first day he got there, you guys were all wearing yellow and blue just to haze him, colors of the Ukrainian flag. Is that true?
No, that's not true.
Oh, all right. All righty. Well, thank you. Is there anything else we want to say? I will, just so you guys know, if you, I will bug Brian and Angelo later on today, see if we can schedule several of these throughout the next couple of days. Keep you guys posted so we can all party together and talk about the workouts. But is there anything you guys want to say before we take off?
No, I think ultimately, regardless of if the workouts came out early or not, and whatever the standards end up being, this looks like overall a pretty good test that will, I think, do a good job of
Time to get to work.
A good job of selecting the athletes that need to be tested appropriately before competing in a live stage at semifinals.
Yeah.
All hail CrossFit HQ. Good closure, Brian. Angela, do you have anything?
No, I think the test will do a good job. I think we'll be fine. I think the right guys are gonna make it through.
Thank you guys very much.
And
girls. And moms and dads and dogs and everyone who's listening. Anthony Davis will hit 440 pounds for sure. Mark my words, bright and green.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
Fair enough. And we'll leave on a positive note.